daughter. That's the daughter of the man that he replaced as king, by the way. And by now, Saul has lost his mind, and he may even be dead by this point. Lost his mind, ended bad for him, went off the rails. But now David's there. David is a man after God's own heart. David is favored. He's doing it. So he's having fun. He's celebrating. Michal, Saul's daughter, sees it, right, and rebukes him for dancing. Isn't that terrible? When your song comes on, you get up to dance, and then somebody has a problem with it. You know? I'm gonna test y'all real quick. Hold on. Because see, am I the only one who knows this feeling? But let's say a song comes on, right? Let's say, I don't know. What do you do when this song comes on? Right? You want to run to the dance floor, right? Hold on, I'm going to do it one more time. You got to sing with him, though. Sing with him. Whoa, whoa. Oh, one more time. You got to do it. Do it. Sing it with me. All right, here we go. Whoa, whoa. Yeah. If you can play, you got to play when you hear that one, right? You got it. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. If you play, you got to play. If you can dance, you got to get up and dance. You know, if you can sing, you'll sing with it. Even if you can't sing, you might just, That's all that happened to him. He was celebrating. His song came on, he got up, he's dancing. Forget about everyone else, right? Now, you have that feeling. So the song comes on, your song comes on. A lot of times, this happens to me. My song comes on, part of me wants to run out on the dance floor, but the rest of me just kind of stays like this. And I see, well, is there anyone else dancing? No one else is dancing. We're not dancing today, right? Even though my soul wants to run out on the dance floor. What is that I don't want to run out on the dance floor, even though I want to run out on the dance floor? What is it, excuse me, except for self-consciousness, fear? What will they think? What will they say? Is there anything else to it besides that? The song came on. He hit it. That was even better than the speaker, right? As soon as it hit, we want to dance. But what will they say? What will they think? How will they look at me? What will they think about me if I let it out? If I'm too joyful, they're going to look at me crazy, so let me just act miserable like the rest of them. We're talking joy, we're talking celebration. Don't you know these things? It lifts the spirit. But what does that mean when I say it lifts the spirit? Joy, singing, a hug, right? Dancing, laughing together, roller skating if you can roller skate, whatever it is, right? These things lift the spirit. These things are associated with joy, with celebration. On a physical level, they release different hormones. There's dopamine, there's oxytocin, right? There's endorphins. Laughter, joy, dancing. It actually can relieve pain. It can build trust among a group. Because see, if the song comes on, and if it's your song, and if it's her song too, and we both go, oh, as soon as the song starts. See, now I trust you a little bit more than I did because of your distinguishing taste in music, first, if nothing else. Right? It'll foster a connection. And now they're saying to dance, to laugh, to hug somebody, to get these endorphins going, to get this oxytocin going, to get these this is lowering cortisol. That's the stress hormone. This is regulating blood pressure. This is increasing the oxygenation in the blood, right? This is releasing tension. This is helping you sleep better. This is even helping us digest our food better. Just to have a little joy, have a little fun with it. When the song comes on, when my song comes on, get up and dance. I feel like sing. I feel like dance. It'll raise the oxytocin levels, raise the endorphins. It'll make me feel better. It'll regulate the blood pressure. I'll sleep better. I'll digest the food better, right? It's good. Enjoy. It lifts the spirits. But when my song comes on, if no one else is dancing, I'm going to just stand there like this and miss out on all of those benefits. Miss out on, Bible says, the joy of the Lord is your strength, right? So that is what can stop us. Basically, what will other people think? If I put it in an emotional thing, my song comes on, I want to dance, but yet I don't want to dance. Why? Self-consciousness, fear, guilt, shame. That's it, right? That's what stops us. Even though I want to do it, I don't want to do it because of fear, because of shame, Now, so think of it this way. But I said joy, dancing, laughter, all of that, just doing what you feel like doing. That lifts the spirit. So if that lifts the spirit, the fear, the self-consciousness, the guilt, the shame, that is almost like gravity that brings me back down to earth. The joy is lightening the load. That's the helium. That's the right that gives me some lift. But the self-consciousness, the fear, the shame, the guilt, they are heavier emotions. And they are literally lower vibrating emotions on the map of consciousness, right? Love, joy, peace, higher vibrating, enlightenment, wisdom. Fear, anger, shame, guilt. They are heavier than joy. So joy will lift your spirit. Self-consciousness, fear, doubt will weigh you down like gravity. What is gravity anyway? Gravity is the force that keeps us right on the ground, right? It is, and there are actually different theories about this, but essentially they say that the earth is so big that it generates forces, and as long as you're close enough to it, you're going to be stuck to it, right? That's essentially what we're talking about with gravity. So that's why it was such a big deal when we invented, I say we like I did it, invented flight, the Wright brothers, right? That was such a big deal. Why? Because they learned how to attain lift. And that was that the early 1900s, 1800s? Early 19, I think. Yeah. Wright brothers, Kitty Hawk. 1903? Yeah, okay, there you go. So it wasn't so long ago. But did you know that wasn't the first human flight? So that's by achieving lift. That was the first flight by achieving lift. The first flight on record goes back to the 1700s in France, which is by hot air balloon. So what's the difference? A plane uses lift, so you get the speed up, and then the way the wings are shaped, you get your speed up enough, you can coast on the air, right, and you start to take off. A hot air balloon, so that uses a principle called lift. Hot air balloon, for example, and many other things, use a principle called buoyancy. What is buoyancy? What's that? Yeah, right. Yeah, it's, a buoy, right? It's Latin. Buoyare is to float. That's what it means. If something is buoyant, it is able to float. And how is something able to float? You know what a balloon looks like, a helium balloon, a hot air balloon. All of these things float, even a buoy sitting on the water, a life preserver, right? Anything like that. How does it come to float? Why do some things float? If I throw a rock in the pool, it sinks to the bottom. If I throw a beach ball in the pool, it is buoyed by the surface of the water. A rock is not buoyed by the surface of the water. And that boils down to a couple of things, whether or not something is buoyant. Basically, how dense it is. Is it denser than its environment? So if the environment is water, you can float in water because we have about the same density as water, human beings do. So you can kind of float. But if you put, some weights on you, you might sink, right? You probably will. That is buoyancy. How dense is the object itself? And then how dense is the material that it's floating in, right? This is what we're talking about with buoyancy, right? So I had my white bag I had here. Remember last week I had the bag and we were talking about that. So that bag is gone. We got just such good. No, it's good. No, the janitors. You threw my white bag away? You got a good dry cleaning long bag and then somebody throw it away. That's okay. I got another bag. This will work. This will work. Remember, so last week we said you fill it up like this, right? You fill it up. Let me see. Hopefully this doesn't have a hole in it. Kind of does. You get the idea, right? I didn't have time to get a balloon after I thought of this, right? Wow, that's sad. Okay. But there's air in here, right? You get the idea. It's a balloon, right? There's air in here. This is kind of buoyant, right? What is buoyancy? So this balloon, how is it compared to the environment that it's in, the air, right? So, wow. That was about like a rock, huh? All right, well, all right. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Fill up the balloon, you got me, right? Fill up the balloon with air, tie it off, throw it. It falls very slowly. It's a lot more buoyant in air because its density is pretty close. It's a little more dense, which is why it sinks, but it's pretty close. It's kind of buoyant because what it has inside has similar pressures to what is outside. Air on the inside, air on the outside. If I take that same balloon, fill it up with air, tie it up, I got a balloon filled with air right here, right? If I take it and I sink it down 10 feet underwater and I let it go, what happens? It'll come shooting back up. Why? Because the pressure in the water is greater, right, than the pressure inside the balloon. So the balloon is lighter than the water and it will rise. If I fill the balloon with water, if I fill the balloon with sand and throw it in the ocean, it will sink. Because if I fill it with water, it's the same density and it'll kind of just sit there and maybe slowly sink because the balloon makes it a little bit heavier. If I fill it with sand, it will sink because the pressure inside, the density inside is heavier, right? That makes sense, right? You with me, right? Buoyancy, right? Now, what does this have to do with what we're talking about? So if something floats, it's a matter of how heavy it is. It's a matter of how dense it is inside and how dense the environment is around it. Take me back to my song. David was feeling good. My cow, so David's dancing. His song comes on. Boom, 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 whoa, whoa, right? He gets up, he's dancing. The Bible says my cow is staring a hole in the back of his neck. And sometimes that's enough to make you stop dancing. It's enough to even sometimes make you stop dancing before you start dancing. So David's feeling good, he's feeling light, he's feeling accomplished, he's feeling ascended, he's feeling joyful, he's feeling closer to God. She's looking at him disapprovingly, and he might even know it. But see, he was able to stay light because he did not internalize her heaviness. So that can happen, right? I'm feeling good. I'm feeling happy. And then walk into the wrong situation. Spend too much time with the wrong people. Their heaviness, the heaviness of the environment, if it gets inside of me, one of two things gonna happen. If it does get inside of me, now I'm just as heavy as they are. My buoyancy is compromised because I've become more dense. Or I find myself in a more dense environment. If I can keep the density out, so I got helium inside, they got air outside. Helium is lighter than air, right? So that is why you get the lift. Now, if I can keep the helium, even when it's air, or I can keep the air even if they drag me underwater, but I'm still full of my air, of my helium, what will happen? I will elevate out of the situation. We're talking about metaphysical buoyancy, essentially, right? Joy buoys the soul. It lifts it. It allows it to float. Joy is a spiritual force that lifts us up. Joy makes us lighter. Joy makes us freer. Joy makes us more resilient. Joy makes us capable of rising above life's heaviness. But you got to hang on to the joy. Because like I said, all this stuff is contagious. Joy is contagious, right? We can get into that. It's the same. There is a correspondence always between physics and metaphysics. As above, so below. That's why I'm standing here like a high school science teacher half the time. But the reason is that all of the lessons in physics correspond to lessons in metaphysics. Buoyancy is the latest example today. We had one last week. We had one week before last, right? So this is what we're talking about. That joy will buoy your soul. Even mystics. Was that a couple months ago? I was talking about Saint Teresa of Avila and how she could fly around and float around, and they just got tired of it, right? But she could fly, she could float around. People could levitate. There is a tradition even in African culture as it came to this continent. Anyone heard of that book, The People Could Fly? You heard that. What are they talking about? They're talking about resilience in a dense world. The ability to remain light even when things around you get heavy. This is a power. This is a force. This is a power, a force, right? So we can actually change. That's what levitation is. So I'm in air right now. This thing called me is denser than the air, so therefore I'm stuck to the ground, right? If I can, let's go metaphysically, then let's go physics. To lighten my heart, lighten my spirit, lighten my mood. You feel a little lighter, you sleep a little better, you know. And then sometimes, I don't know, I've experienced this before. You hear the right healing word or the right joy and you laugh. And I'm like, man, I swear I'm skinnier than I was before we had this conversation. I think I'm on to something here. I think I might be right. Because how could you get to a point of physical levitation if you didn't get to that point of metaphysical joy and lightness first? You got to have that. And as above, so below. This is how it works. This is how it all goes together. There is physical gravity. There's metaphysical gravity. That's the law of correspondence, right? As above, so below. So how did David defy metaphysical gravity in this story? And then what's in it for us? Like I said, density boils down to, or buoyancy, the ability to float, the ability to rise above. It boils down to a couple of things. One, how dense is the environment that you're in? And two, how dense are you? There is the beauty of, so a balloon, you blow up the balloon, the density is what it is. Air has a particular density. One of the beauties of being human is my metaphysical density changes all throughout life. Sometimes I'm up, sometimes I'm down, right? That's what they say, right? Sometimes I'm feeling good, it's joyful, I'm light, I'm fun, we're having fun, we're laughing, I'm more generous than I would have been, right? And then sometimes not. But ultimately, and we're going to experience things, we're going to experience ups and downs. But I think we have more agency, more control over how light we're going to be than we might give ourselves credit for. Sometimes we might think, I walk in a room, it's dense, it's sad, it's somber. Does that mean, we talk about contagious. Now, I gotta be sad? I walk in a room, Jacques hitting the guitar, Frankie Beverly and Mays, whatever. My soul feels light. I feel like dancing. I feel like having fun. I feel like increasing endorphins, oxytocin, dopamine. I need to lower blood pressure. I need to reduce stress. And the song came on, and my heart and soul says, get up and dance. But I'm in a dense environment. So what do? Do you understand? What'd you say? I hope so. You understand this? So here's some advanced metaphysics. This is why you sound so good singing in the shower. Why? Because there's no self-consciousness. There's no fear. There's no shame. There's no guilt. And sometimes being shocked, I really sound good this morning. And you do. It's because you are not weighed down by the gravity of environment. But the beauty of being human is, and we're talking metaphysics, it's not even so much about the environment as your own perception of the environment. Of whether I'm a rise or fall. What are they going to say if I sing? What are they going to say if I dance? Well, let me just stay here. Let me just play it safe. Yeah, you're earthbound. You are gravitationally dragging. When are we or are we not on a call and a path that is called spiritual ascension? How dense is the environment that you're in, and how dense are you? Look at David. We have more control over the situation than we might give ourselves credit for. Here's another thing of how these cycles work and how contagion works. Now, here's my question. Does being happy make you feel like dancing, or does dancing make you feel happy? The fact is both. Yeah, you said both? I agree. Both. So sometimes the song hits, and I say, well, let me get up and dance because I'm feeling happy. Now, if I don't get up and dance, I cannot have that joy, that ascension, that buoyancy, that lift, unless I actually get up and do it. Or at least, like I said, at least sit there and just go with me. Whoa, whoa. See, I can't quite get up and I can't really get up, but I'm going to just, whoa, whoa, before I let go. Right, that's better than nothing, right? But now that works the other way around. If I find myself, let's say I'm feeling average, but I'm in a dense environment. So you said feeling happy makes you dance, but then on the other side, dancing will make you feel happy. So if I'm feeling low, dance, laughter, hug, embrace, right? Generosity, kind word. These are things you know how to buoy your metaphysics. Right? So if I do it, now I can change the environment. That goes both ways. And these metaphors are real. You've heard this metaphor before. Now, if everyone's happy, and the environment is happy. One sad person walks in. Have you heard this term? Man, they just let all the air out of the room. We were floating relatively. They were heavier. They were more dense. Well, like I said, has he let the air out of your soul? I've met some people, maybe he has, I don't know. But see, now that's a question. Has he let the air out of your soul? Has he made it impossible for you to float and achieve attainment and follow laws of the universe, a principle of buoyancy, that if the pressure inside, if I can maintain the pressure inside with enough stability and consistency and resilience, it actually doesn't matter what the outside is. Or it is harder, the more I can build it up within, the harder it is. Now anybody can, bad things can happen. Now it can happen. But even in the face of it, it's possible to get to a point, I would know. We see Christ, we see others. I've seen my own life. It's not what happens to you, but it's how you respond to it. It's not the barometric pressure in the air that will dictate how high the balloon is going to fly. It's the quality of the helium and the freshness within. This is why we choose gratitude. This is why feeling down, quick, name 5 things you're grateful for, right? Why? Because as soon as I start thinking gratitude, I am getting on a higher plane. A thought of gratitude is literally lighter. It is literally more buoyant. It is literally more ebullient. It will make you float better than a thought of anger, grief, fear, shame, guilt, self-conscious. And that's a choice. So I was saying, everybody else actually could be feeling good. One person comes in, lets all the air out of the room. Did they really let the air out of the room? There's still air in the room. I mean, there's still gravity. There's still air in the room. What happened? Metaphysically, I caught what they had. And they had it so strong, they were so dense that they were able to convince me that I was dense. Whether I was dense or not, they convinced me that I was dense. Next thing I know, I'm stuck on the ground. I was feeling good until you got here. Not you. So David's dancing. David's song comes on. He's dancing with abandon. He's dancing to the point where people were saying he's undignified. Now that's the worst thing you want. That's the last thing you want, right? Is for someone to disapprove of what you're doing. But David was dancing. Can you see how he defied the gravitational pull of royal decorum, the gravitational pull of religious propriety, the gravitational pull of my call's criticism? Can you see how his joy lifted him even above what he thought his political image was supposed to be? You start getting into that, that's so complicated, you're gonna sink. That's what true worship, praise, celebration, that's what we're talking about. And everyone has their own way of doing it, but I would never begrudge someone if they feel like running, if they feel like shouting, if they feel like dancing, because that's coming from within. And that's the only place you're going to experience God, or the first place for sure, is within. So if they got to dance, if they got to shout, if they have some lightness about them, far be it from me or anyone else to ever bring, what am I weighing them down for? Weighing down with judgment. weighed down with criticism, weighed down with, like I said, sometimes all they got to do is look at you and you can just see the disdain. Who the hell you think you are? Looking good, smelling good, and can dance too. Who the hell you think you are? You know? And then you go out to your car, they might let the air out of you. Does your environment dictate you, or do you dictate your environment? Again, both. Sure. Happy people, you're going to feel a little happier, right? Of course. All right. Bible says, rejoice with those that rejoice, celebrate, right? Mourn with those who mourn. Then at the same time, got to know we have a power. Like I said, if everyone's feeling good, one person can let the air out of the whole room. They just sucked all the oxygen out of the room, which means we became back prone to gravity. We lost our buoyancy, right? But on the same token, a situation can be dense, a situation can be tense, and one person, the right joke, the right compliment, the right word of wisdom can lift the entire environment, can change the density. And this is the power that we have. This is what we're talking about when I'm talking about contagious. You see why now I'm talking contagious celebration, gravity, gratitude, and grace is what we're talking about this month, right? So we're on a path of ascension. But yeah, ascension. So you got a helium balloon, right? We've all done that. Let it go by accident or on purpose. What happens? It ascends out of the lower pressure on the ground. When airplanes are flying, right, the cabin is pressurized, right, in the airplane, because the pressure is lower up high than it is down low. So the helium is lighter than air. Air is heavier. The pressure is highest down here. Just like I said, if you lower it in the water, it comes shooting back up. Helium's lighter than air. It ascends, right? So there is a metaphysical ascension. Now, we're not necessarily going anywhere like the balloon flying anywhere physically, right? But we are going somewhere, right? So my question, what are you going to do next time your song comes on? You know? Are we going to give our power away? Am I going to compromise my own buoyancy? You said next time your song comes on, you're going to dance? Okay. Help me out, Brother Ron. No, yeah. All right, prove it here. Let's see. Can we have a little fun with this right now? I'm going to hit this Maze and Frankie Beverly. No, I'm going to see. All right. Hey, I mean, I'm not judging anybody. I don't care what you do. All right. Turn me up a little bit back there, too, right here. And help me out, yeah. Let's see. What you got? What you got? What you got? What's that? What's your jam? Hold on. I got it. Hold on, Marlene said that wasn't her jam. Hold on. I think I got Marlene's jam right here. Hold on. You know this? See? I think that ain't it either. Huh? That ain't it? Turn it down a little bit. All right. No, y'all can play everything, yeah. out of my life. Keep on running. Keep on running. Keep running. Keep running. Keep on running. Keep running. Keep on running. Keep running. In and out of my life. I love y'all. We're just having some fun. But maintain the buoyancy, maintain the celebration. Don't let anyone pull you down gravitationally. Love you, love you, love you. Hey! 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 I knew that I would now. I feel good. That's spiritual. I knew that I would. Hey, so good. So good. I got me. Sugar and spice. I feel nice. Like sugar and spice. So nice. So nice. I got me. Hey! Love can't do no wrong. I feel nice. Like sugar and spice. I feel nice. Like sugar and spice. Hey, so nice. So nice. I got you.